And hello again, everyone. This will be a response to a person called Dan Juche. And this will be basically a Red Scare TV project. And yeah, this is my response to his response on Mason. So yeah, it's a response to a response, basically. Anyway, his whole 4-minute video are basically two claims. So his first claim is basically, quote, I would not go so far to let people have much freedom anymore. You give people freedom and they take a mile. You give them like an inch of freedom and they take a mile. Quote end. Sorry, but this is big and utter bullshit. Also because he says the downfall of most democratic societies or democratic countries these days is because the people have too much freedom, which is totally false. They fall or they crumble because the capitalist institutions and power, or the elites, or the bourgeoisie, in this case the capitalist system, actually gains power and takes away the freedom of the people. They are not giving the people more rights or more freedom. No, the opposite. What we see here in the West since the last years is that the capitalist institutions and power are taking away our freedom, and this is why democracy is crumbling and falling, because the capitalist institutions and power take our freedoms away. Good example is privacy and the infringement of privacy. This is a freedom which the capitalist institutes are taking away, and they are gaining control and power by doing so. And this is exactly why democracy is falling, and not the opposite. He says democracy is failing or falling because the people have too much freedom. No, it's the opposite. It's failing and falling because the institutions and power, or capitalism, is taking away the freedoms and the rights of the people, and not the opposite. How he can claim or come to the conclusion that it is because people have too much freedom or seek too much freedom is really beyond my comprehension. I really can't understand how he can interpret this kind of bullshit in the whole situation that is happening here in the West. Sorry, but this guy is obviously quite dense and he obviously has no idea what he's actually talking about. Sorry, but it's true. Anyway, then he goes on and says something that in my opinion makes no sense, at least not to me. Anyway, then he goes on talking about Juche, which he calls Juche, which is, by the way, the wrong definition. It's called Juche and not Juche. But yeah, whatever. Sorry, but this just shows me that this guy, once again, actually has no idea what he's talking about. He can't even pronounce Juche correctly. But yeah, talks as if he's some kind of professor or actually knows what he's talking about, which he obviously is not. Obviously has no idea what he's actually talking about. He can't even pronounce Juche correctly. Then he says they threaten people to a degree with their lives, which, sorry, but is a typical Western media propaganda argument, which, once again, the Western media has no goddamn proof for. They have no goddamn proof for these claims. The only thing they have are claims from defectors, which are neither neutral nor are they any proof. They are just claims by defectors which might as well be made up, and also, they are pretty much very unreliable, because defectors for once are not neutral. Because they are defectors and leave the country, of course they are not positive towards the country. Therefore, their opinion is definitely biased, first. And secondly, we have countless examples of so-called defectors who deliberately lied to the media or the secret agencies and were even paid to tell these lies in order for the Western media and propaganda to have an argument. You want an example? The Iraq War. This is a very good example because you had one defector or one person from Iraq who came to Germany, and he deliberately lied to our secret agencies in Germany and told them there were biochemical weapons, although he had no proof and nothing. He just said they had biochemical weapons here and there and there, and just said it in order to get a German passport, a German visa, and he was even paid by our secret agencies or the BND here in Germany to actually say this. And yeah, he did this, and he later even admitted this live on camera in media. But the problem is, this was years later, after the Iraq war was over. And yeah, this guy, because of his lies, he got felt guilty. And this is why he has gone public and said or admitted that he has lied deliberately to get money and a German visa. Yeah, so much for defectors being trustworthy. Lol. Which they sorry are not. Defectors are not a trustworthy source. They are not a proof either. They are only claims, and they are highly untrustworthy as well. But yeah, all these arguments come from defectors. And as I said, defectors are not trustworthy, nor are they neutral, and even less are they any proof. They are not proof. They are simply claims, and as I said, highly not trustworthy at all. Anyway, this guy, in his last comment, basically just recited Western propaganda. And then even more, you know what's even better? That his whole string of argumentations make no sense at all. Because, first he is like pro Juche and defends Juche and says Juche is my way of thinking and I like it. But then he goes on and says that Juche oppresses people and threatens them with their lives. Like, what the hell? What the hell are you even talking about? You contradict yourself. You make no goddamn sense. Are you even listening to your own words? Sorry, Dan, you obviously aren't. Because you make no sense at all. And you contradict yourself. Congratulations. And the next argument is even better and even more full of contradictions. Quote, what I'm saying is that it works. And that you have to find a system that works. It just so happens that that works for them. Would I do the same thing? Probably. But I don't want anyone to criticize me on that. Quote end. So basically you think that it works and you basically like it, but basically you don't want to admit it openly because you don't want criticism. You know what this is called, Dan? This is called being an opportunist. You just take something you like or you want in order to be successful, but you don't want criticism. This is exactly what an opportunist is about. You just take this for yourself to be successful, but you don't want criticism and you are not willing to stand for it against criticism. This is exactly what opportunists do. So basically, in my opinion, you are an opportunist, Dan. Congratulations. Then you go on about public executions again. We already had this in detail, but yeah, I pretty much debunked it by now. But yeah, then you say you have actual data to prove it. Okay, but the problem is, in all of your video, you show none of this data at all. Nor did you put any links in your video description with any sort of data. You talk about having data to back this up, but you show none of this data. You don't even take a quote. There is literally nothing. You just say that there are public executions and that there is data. Okay, Dan, where is this data? Please show it to us. Show us your so-called data. Where is it? We are waiting. Show it to us. Show it to me, please. Oh my god, then you go on and say that alone this year 80 people were publicly executed for having a Bible. Yeah, you just literally say this, but you name no source at all. This might as well just been made up. And this is actually a pretty much easy claim to debunk, because even in Vice videos about North Korea, which are actually pretty much anti North Korea, you actually can see that they have churches in North Korea, and that it's not illegal to possess a Bible or to read the Bible or to believe in Christ or in God. It's actually legal. You know what the only difference is, and this is the same system in China, by the way, too. Yes, you can believe in whatever you want. You can be a Christian or whatever, atheist, what the hell ever. But the difference is that in China or North Korea, churches must be independent. They must be independent from the Vatican, which means they are not owned by the Vatican. Also, religion in these countries is separate from the state, or from, not from the state, but from politics, which means you cannot have religion and politics, which in my opinion is good. This is my own opinion, but yeah, I think this is good and correct. I think politics and religion should be separated. However, religion itself should be everyone's free choice to believe or believe not. And it should be the free choice of anyone if he wants to go to a church or not, and if he wants to pray or not. But however, politics and religion must be separated. And yes, in my opinion, also churches should be separate from the Vatican. They should not be owned by the Vatican, because the Vatican is one power and money hungry institute. The Vatican is basically corrupt, and there are countless examples of this. Do you know Scarface? This mafiosi? Yes, this guy. And also other mafias from especially the Cosa Nostra, the Italian Sicily Cosa Nostra. In fact, the church or the Vatican actually even backed these mafiosis up, and they made deals with them, and they supported them, and vice versa, which is highly corrupt and totally wrong. And yeah, this is exactly why churches should be independent from the Vatican and should not be owned by the Vatican, which in my opinion is good. And sorry, whoever says otherwise is obviously either doesn't know how corrupt the Vatican is, or they simply are really fundamental Christians who simply want corruption, and they want the Vatican and their religious dogma to be in power. Sorry, as I said, religious dogma should be taboo and should not be allowed. And yeah, religion and politics should be separate, as well as churches should be independent from the Vatican. This is exactly what China and North Korea do, and in my opinion, it's good. However, this claim is definitely debunked by now, and yeah, as I said, once again, you just say this, but you offer no sources or no legitimate proof of any of your words. You just say it and cite it, but you don't even give any source. Sorry, Dan, but how do you expect that anyone will believe you if you don't even give any goddamn source at all? You literally give no source at all. Even I can give you a source like Vice, which, as I said, if you watch some Vice documentations about North Korea, you will see they have churches, and they have Bibles, and they are legal. But yeah, you, Dan, just offered no sources at all. You just say, oh yeah, that's how it is. But no source, no proof, nothing. Anyway, to be fair, the only public execution that is really documented and which really happened and really took place was the execution of one of Kim Il-sung's uncles, who himself was revisionist and corrupt. He used his position and hoarded goods, mainly seafoods, for himself and to sell them for extremely high profit, while exploiting the workers at the same time. And yeah, for this, he was publicly executed by Kim Jong-un, Well, not him alone. He and his guards, which were loyal to this corrupt person, were executed as well. Because the thing is, this uncle of Kim Jong Il and his guards were given a chance. They were given a chance to change their way, to stop exploiting the people. So they were given a chance, but they refused, all of them. And yeah, for this they were publicly executed. North Korea admitted this openly, and they didn't make a big fuss about it. However, it was the Western media that made a big fuss about it, and made bullshit claims that they were torn apart by dogs, hungry dogs that haven't been fed for like 2 weeks or so. That was the original claim, which is bullshit, because first of all, this came from a source in Hong Kong. There are about 20 newspapers in Hong Kong, and this one, Kyang something, I forgot the name. However, this newspaper was known to be very unreliable and to lie a lot. They were known to lie and be very unreliable. And yeah, this claim actually came from this newspaper in Hong Kong. First. Secondly, it is physical impossible for 100 hungry dogs, even if they haven't been fed for weeks, to tear apart and completely eat 24 of people. The uncle of Kim Jong-un and about 24 of his guards. More than 24 people. Which is literally impossible for 100 dogs because their stomach volume is not even able to to hold in so much food. It is literally biologically impossible. And there were some German blogs, neutral ones by the way. They weren't even socialists or communists. They were simply activists, probably Occupy. And they pointed out that it is biologically just freaking impossible. But yeah, however, this was a public execution which really took place. However, they were not torn apart by dogs. They were literally publicly shot, executed publicly by shooting. And yeah, North Korea admitted this too. And yeah, this is it. There is nothing more about it. And yeah, this is the only public execution that is actually documented and which North Korea actually admitted. And where you actually have some data on it. Yeah, actual data as you claim. Which you, once again, didn't offer or any sources, but simply just said, oh yeah, this is so. However, this is actual data and actual proven. However, other executions, which the Western media propagates, there is simply no proof or no data to back it up. Anyway, this is about it. And Jesus Christ, I can't believe that I wasted so much time on this once again. But you know, the problem is, if you really want to debunk such claims in detail and with actual backup and knowledge like me, you will have to take some time. But yeah, anyway, your last words were that you finally found your place and the system that you actually support, which is Juche, which I said earlier, you're not even able to pronounce Juche correctly. So yeah, you support Juche and you think Juche is good, but you can't even pronounce Juche correctly. And sorry to say this is bluntly, but in my opinion, you don't even know what Juche is about. However, I'm looking forward to your response. I'm pretty eager to see what you will say on this and how you will respond to this. And yeah, let me also ask you, please explain to me what Juche is. Show us all how much you actually know about Juche by explaining to us what Juche actually is. I bet with you $100 that you are not able to explain what Juche actually is and how it works. Wanna bet? But yeah, anyway, I'm looking forward to your response. And peace out.